Russia now! Stop Russia now! Stop Russia now! Stop! Putin is a killer! 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 Putin is a killer!
Putin is a war criminal! Putin is war criminal! Putin is war criminal!
Putin is war criminal! Putin is war criminal!
We need ammo, not a lie! We need ammo, not a lie! Україна! Одна! Єдина! Соборна 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 Україна! USA support Ukraine! 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 USA support Ukraine!
Три рази, далі слава.
Yeah, ready? Раз, два, три.
Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам! Україна! Понад усе! Україна! Понад усе! Україна! Понад усе!
That's better. Oh, that's it. Yeah. We're working the same beat.
Of relative silence so that we may begin the program. Шановні українці, я прошу хвилинку відносного спокою, щоб ми, це демонстрація, то тільки відносний, щоб ми могли почати програму. Прошу дивитися на трибуну, там звідтом будуть проходити голоси.
Hello, friends! Hello, supporters of Ukraine! Friends of Ukraine! Fellow Ukrainians! I welcome you to today's event. I wanted to welcome you on behalf of organizers. But to be honest, you're all organizers today. You came from New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Texas, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, where are you guys? Woo! Connecticut. Woo! Philadelphia again. New York. Woo! New Jersey. Woo! Virginia. Woo! Maryland. Yeah! Washington, D.C. I wish we were here for a different reason. Colorado is here, okay? Woo! But really, I wish we were here for a different reason. Just a week ago, we were rallying to stand with Ukraine. It was a day of solidarity. Things have changed dramatically. That Sunday, I was preparing a speech. Today, I didn't have time to write a speech. Because every one of you, I know, feel the same way as I do. We don't sleep at night. We don't eat. We don't say good morning to our kids because we are worried about Ukraine, and we're doing everything to help our defenders, to defend their country, defend Ukraine's sovereignty, democracy, and freedom. I was talking to a global community on Twitter yesterday, and they were asking me, how do you feel about what's happening in Ukraine? And I said, you know, I don't feel anything. I don't have time to feel. And I know all of you here, you're all with me here. You all feel the same. We love Ukraine, and we know that the world stands with Ukraine. Only about a month ago, we started those protests here. I think the first one was January 8th. By the White House, it was just 20 of us. And on some days, there were only 2 of us here, protesting Russian aggression, demanding sanctions, telling the world what's happening in Ukraine. Did the world listen? Well, a month later they did. But I guess it was a bit too late. Ukraine knows, Ukrainian people know that we're with them. We're going to do everything, and the world will do everything now to support their fight. And let me tell you, they will fight. They're already fighting, and they will fight to the end.
We will win!
We will win! До перемоги разом!
До перемоги разом! До перемоги разом!
So what I want to tell you now is the world stands with Ukraine. What we need now is Russians to stand with the world and fight for their country too. Because guess what? Ukraine will win and Russia will fall. Putin's Russia will fall. We want to tell your Russian friends, families, get to the streets. Yes, it's scary, but we did it in 2014, and we're doing it now. And they need to do it. Belarusian friends, they need to do it. They did it in 2020. They need, all of them, they need to do it now. To the streets, telling Putin he is going to lose and he is going to hell.
For sure! Putin to hell!
Putin
to hell! Putin to hell! Putin to hell! Putin to hell! Putin to hell! Putin to hell!
I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for your support. We were a small organization. We grew 1,000 times bigger overnight.
We're a big nation!
We are a big nation. We are all Ukrainians. We are all Ukrainians now. The world. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
I thank you all for coming today, but our work is not done. I needed to do everything to support Ukraine, help Ukrainians to defend themselves, talk to your family, let them know the world is with them. And let's stand for Ukrainian anthem. Thank you. Stop this war!
Stop this war!
Stop this war! Stop this war! Stop this war! Stop this war!
Stop this war!
Stop this war!
Stop this war!
Stop this war! Stop this war! Stop this war!
With distinguished speakers, and I would like to introduce Roxolana Winner, who's going to be our MC for this part. Thank you all for coming. God bless, and Slava Ukraini!
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Good afternoon. My name is Roxolana Winner, and I'm part of United Help Ukraine. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We have wonderful speakers here today. It's my absolute honor to introduce them. We're going to change the course a little bit because one of our speakers has to leave. So we're going to start with Mr. Jamie Kirkchick. He's a journalist. He's the author of The End of Europe, Dictators, Demagogues, and the Coming Dark Age, and a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. Please help me welcome Mr. Jamie Kirkchick.
Louder! We stand here today in solidarity with people across the United States and around the world saying no to this unprovoked war of aggression against a peaceful, democratic country. We stand with NATO, the most successful military alliance in history and the guardian of our freedom. We stand with the incredibly brave people of Russia who have taken to the streets and taken great risks to protest against this terrible, ongoing crime against humanity. We stand with the people of Georgia and Syria and Chechnya and all those who have been crushed by the criminal Putin regime. We stand with President Zelensky, an unlikely leader, but a remarkably courageous man An actor thrust into the role of a lifetime, who has proven himself more than up to the task. Offered help by the United States government to escape his country, he replied, "I don't need a ride, I need ammunition." President Biden, give President Zelensky what he asked for. Yes. Most of all, we stand with the everyday people of Ukraine, who have inspired the world with their courage, their humanity, and their grace under fire. We stand in awe not only of their brave soldiers, but their citizen volunteers, their mothers, their fathers, their nurses, their factory workers, their world-famous computer programmers, all of whom have taken up weapons to defend their land against the tyrant's rape of their country. They are not just fighting for Ukraine. They are fighting for every citizen of the free world. We stand for democracy, for freedom, sovereignty, and a Europe whole, free, and at peace that generations have endeavored to build. We stand against dictatorship, oppression, imperialism, and the apologists and the appeasers of a terrorist regime that bombs hospitals, apartment buildings, and even kindergartens. I'm speaking of the lobbyists who take Putin's blood money, the politicians who embrace him diplomatically, and the cable news television hosts who spout his propaganda. You know who I'm talking about. We stand for a world based on values and democratic cooperation against those who want to drag us back to an era of when might makes right. Finally, we stand against a monstrous dictator who has the audacity to call his opponents warmongers and Nazis, when it is he who wages war against a country with a Jewish president and who revives fascism on the European continent. Vladimir Putin believed that this war would be an easy victory along his path to rebuilding an evil empire. But the Ukrainian people will make sure that this war is the graveyard of the Putin dictatorship. Slava Ukraina!
Thank you so much, Mr. Kirchik. Please join me in giving him a round of applause. So we're going to continue with the program as we were supposed to. It's going to be my great honor now to introduce Father Peter Galadza. He's now a visiting scholar at the Catholic University. He's going to say some short prayers for us for Ukraine. Father?
Let us pray to the Lord. Господеві помолімся. Heavenly Father, your Son taught us, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." In this time of great worry, we fervently pray that your Holy Spirit sustain all the people of Ukraine to be vigilant and dedicated to peace and justice, and grant their leaders wisdom and prudence and strength. Yet may they also have the strength and perseverance to defend their land from all adversity and foreign attack. Help us all to live according to your divine will. O God, our Father, in the days to come, we beseech you to comfort the suffering, heal the wounded, and accept the souls of the faithful departed into your heavenly kingdom. We ask also that the Most Holy Mother of God extend her blessed mantle of protection over our Ukraine. And if I may add, a Jewish rabbi friend of mine in Canada already 2 weeks ago, sent me a prayer that he mentioned that he is praying every day for the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, whom all of you probably know, by now at least, is of Jewish background. And the prayer that he sent me is a prayer for peace as one is preparing for the darkness of night. And I suspect that I'm not the only one who, watching President Zelensky during the last several days and actually weeks, realizes the extent to which that man deserves at least a couple hours of sleep. And so this prayer has a special significance for Volodymyr Zelensky, I'm sure, whose relatives, many of his relatives, died in the Holocaust. So let us pray this prayer from the Jewish tradition for peace as darkness approaches. Grant, O Lord, that we may lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, against illness, against war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, O God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Amen.
Thank you, Father, for those beautiful prayers. We really appreciate it. Let's just take one moment of silence for everybody who has been killed in Ukraine, both in the ongoing 8-year war and now with this new invasion. So I'd ask you just to take one moment of silence, please. Thank you so much. We'll continue our program. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Ambassador John E. Earps. He's the former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine and the Senior Director of the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center. Mr. Ambassador, please come on stage.
Good afternoon. First, it's great to see all these Ukrainian flags here. It's also appropriate and great to see Belarus and Georgian flags because you're all in the same fight. And finally, I'm a proud American. I'm glad to see both an American flag here and a NATO standard. Now, one of our earlier speakers didn't want to talk about her feelings. Let me just tell you briefly, on the night of Wednesday, and when I woke up Thursday morning, all I felt was I was distraught. By late afternoon, I was no longer much distraught, but simply mad as hell. Mad as hell is what I said. Okay. Well, I don't know where Putin is ultimately bound. That's beyond my pay grade. I'll be happy if we send him to off as a pensioner. But here's the point. Here's the point. I spoke a week ago, and things looked grave, but the big anvil had not dropped. The anvil dropped, what, almost 4 days ago. And almost everything that has happened since has been a plus. First, we have this extraordinary Ukrainian resistance. And with that resistance, by the way, not a surprise to me, with that resistance, we have new heroes. The martyrs of Snake Island. The man with the hand grenade at the bridge. The woman in the bomb shelter with her children talking to the entire world. And of course, the man who refused to leave Kyiv instead adds, send us more weapons. President Zelensky. And this absolutely extraordinary example of Kremlin aggression has turned world opinion decidedly in the favor of the victim, of Ukraine. Who would have thought, even 2 days ago, that Germany would announce it's sending 100,000 Stingers to Ukraine and boosting its defense expenditures over 2%? What 6 American presidents cannot do in 30 years, Putin did it in 3 days. Belgium and the Netherlands also, sorry to say, Putin Verstanders are now sending weapons to Ukraine too. Europe understands that Moscow is on the march, and it threatens not just Ukraine, but the entire West. And Putin, in his somewhat unhinged manner, has let the cat out of the bag with his speech on Monday, when he said, my aims go to the entire post-Soviet space, and for that matter, to the entire space of the Warsaw Pact. I've been screaming this for 8 years, and very few people listen. Now they begin to understand. Now we're assembled here before the White House, and that's a good thing. Because I don't need to tell you what I'm saying right now, but they need to hear this, and I hope they do. The administration deserves credit for prompt and smart response to Moscow's aggression. Now, I know you don't want to hear that, but you'll like what I'm about to say now. But if I had to put what they've done into a phrase, I would say talented but timid. And now is not a time for timidity. Not is now a time for bean counters. Now is the time for statesmanship and strength.
Accept Ukraine to NATO.
What we need right now is Ukraine facing a failed Russian invasion may decide to up the ante. Maybe we're going to start to see the type of truly barbaric operations that they conducted in Chechnya and in Libya with massive bombing of cities.
Not going to happen.
Well, we have to make sure it doesn't happen. There has to be a message from the White House to the Kremlin that that will not stand. Now, there's another point here. Putin is also, he's done this regularly throughout this crisis, but particularly today, he is waving his nuclear weapons.
Shame!
And he's telling us, it's worse than that. Not shame on him, we know who he is. It's shame on us if we let him get away with it.
Yeah!
I've been in this fight for the last 8 years. And the people who don't understand the stakes have always said, well, we can't oppose Putin in Ukraine because he has nukes. As if Soviet nukes dissuaded us from doing the necessary in Berlin in 1948, 1961, and in Cuba in 1962. There needs to be a strong response from the White House to the waving of the nuclear weapon. I have some ideas which I will not share today, but there has to be a response, and it has to come soon. Talented but timid ain't going to cut it right now. And while we're at it, to help the people of Ukraine, and for that matter, Americans, I don't know why, except because of that timid word I keep referring to, they decided 3 weeks ago there would be no emergency evacuation of American citizens in Ukraine once Russia invades. Our military has a proud history of doing this all over the world, and of delivering, if we decide it's necessary, humanitarian aid with our military. The White House should announce this afternoon, 1, there will be an emergency evacuation going on in Ukraine. We'll tell the Russians where our planes are going, and we're going to tell them you better leave them alone, fellas.
Yes!
Those, that can happen both by plane and by ship to Odessa, carrying humanitarian aid. That will also have the instrumental impact of telling Putin that timidity is something in the past. Statesmanship is what's going to happen going forward. So I think I've probably taken enough of your time. But I can tell you this, Ukraine will certainly win. The only question is how much blood will be spilled before that becomes apparent.
A lot of Russian blood for sure.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. But it's also true that if we stand up in the way I've described, the chances of much larger bloodshed will go down. And also, this is important, Jamie Kirchik referred to this obliquely. I see Natalia Arnaud, a very important opponent of Mr. Putin, is here today. We need to get into the Russian information space everything that's happening. The death of all those Russian soldiers and the death of Ukrainian civilians, because the Russian people don't like that idea. And that is something that can help us. And of course, we're already doing this. We're sticking it to the people of power, given their financial assets in the West. That's got to continue. Thank you all. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Erbs. Please give him a round of applause. That was amazing. We really appreciate his support. This is the second time in 1 week that, he was here last Sunday at the Lincoln Memorial speaking. For those of you who came, thank you. And he's here again speaking, so we appreciate having him. Next, I would like to introduce Miss Natalia Arnaud. She's the president and founder of Free Russia Foundation. It's a human rights organization consolidating efforts of pro-democracy Russians. Please let me introduce Ms. Natalia Arnaud.
Hello. Я люблю тебе, Україно. Я пишаюся тобою, Україна. Україна переможе. I saw many of you at the Lincoln Memorial Rally last Sunday. It's very good to see all of you here today. Thank you for coming here and express your love and support for Ukraine. This week, it's even harder for me to speak to you. The bloody and insane dictator of my home country, who first occupied Russia, attacked Georgia, annexed Crimea, and did many other horrible crimes, unleashed a full-scale war against Ukraine. Many people thought, and we hoped, that this military build-up is just a bluff, that this is Putin flexing his flabby muscles. What is happening now is the worst possible nightmare. Putin is viciously attacking Ukraine, Russian army, shelling and bombing Ukrainian cities, killing Ukrainian citizens, not differentiating between armed forces or civilians, between adults or children. Small children, old people, pregnant women are forced to underground shelters. Millions have been displaced and seek safety as refugees. Every Ukrainian, even a teenager or a babushka, is defending their homes and their country. The level of resistance and courage of Ukrainians is absolutely outstanding. We are all very impressed with the heroic leadership of President Zelensky and of every and each Ukrainian. We believe NATO should ask membership of Ukraine, not vice versa. The world united, supporting Ukraine as never before. Politicians, musicians, sportsman, Elon Musk. But what I, pro-democracy Russian, want to tell you, many Russians are against this absurd war as well. Believe me, it's very difficult to protest in Putin Russia today.
Russia stop Putin! Russia stop Putin! Russia stop
Several
Putin!
waves of
Russia stop
revolutions. All these years of Putin's rule, we are being murdered, we are being jailed, we are being forced into exile. But still, we go out in thousands and thousands in many, many Russian cities. As you know, today is a very tragic 7-year anniversary of Boris Nemtsov's assassination. He was brutally murdered 7 years ago near the Kremlin, organizing the anti-war protest. Today, his niece has been detained in Moscow. Many Russians, scientists, politicians, musicians, sportsmen, ordinary people protest, even despite today and many other days also. We were threatened to be in jail for state prison for 20 years, just mentioning the word the war. Many Russians also sign petitions, write letters, do many other stuff. Our Free Russia Foundation has evacuated 3,000 people to safety. We donated to Ukrainian army as an organization and separately. We are doing many other things. I know it's still not enough. We still need more people. But believe me, the anti-war movement in Russia is growing and will keep growing. Because many Russians, unfortunately, brainwashed with this 24/7 zombifying Kremlin propaganda. But now, even Putin's elites are not as monolithic as before. What Putin did with Ukraine is suicidal for his regime. We know that all dictatorships eventually fall, and all dictators are mortal. I just wish him to end up in a Gaddafi style.
Karma,
This Putin
baby.
war is not only against Ukraine. This is the war between the dictatorship and the democratic world. And Ukraine is at the forefront of this existential battle. That's why the entire world should unite around Ukraine and should grant any request or any demand from Ukrainians and from all of us. No fly zones, no sanctions, no military assistance, no humanitarian assistance. Free corridors between Ukraine and NATO countries to assist with mass movement of people. Today Putin threatened again with nuclear weapons. Did he do it because he's strong? No. He's still a very dangerous and cornered rat. And the entire world should understand how dangerous Putin is for planet Earth. How dangerous Putin's regime and Putin is. But I'm sure, united we stand. Україна переможе! Слава Україні! Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Россия будет свободной! Украина переможе! Дякую!
Thank you so much, Miss Arnold. Please give her a round of applause. She was also here. I'm sorry. She was also one of our guest distinguished speakers last week at the Lincoln Memorial. Very grateful for her to be here again. Thank you so much, Miss Arnold. Now, my next speaker, her name is Miss Ingrid Joyce, and she is the current chair of the Joint Volunteers American National Committee. She represents the American Autism Association, the Estonian American National Committee, and the Lithuanian American community. Please help me welcome her to the stage.
Де прямо до коня, так і поперечні, коло цього шнурочка на квадратиком огорожено, де всі репортери посередині. Тут де посередині всі репортери стоять, Василь. Ну тут ми стоїмо таким квадратиком, всі люди стоять, Василь. Збоку коня.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ingrida Luis. She was also at our event last week at the Lincoln Memorial, so we really appreciate it. Jane Bank has been a great support of ours. So please let's give a round of applause. Thank you so much. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr.
Putin, hands off Ukraine!
He's a political expert and the former chief of staff of government of Azerbaijan. Please help me welcome Mr. Yunus.
Дякую за запрошення. Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава Україні! My name is Ramesh Yunus. I'm former chief of staff of government of Azerbaijan and former chief of staff of parliament of Azerbaijan. I came in the United States 20 years ago. Today I'm American citizen. I'm political expert. Why I'm here? Simple question. Because today Ukraine and heroic Ukraine people defending not only sovereignty and territorial integrity for Ukraine, because Ukraine today defending, first of all, United States and US values, democratic values. Because today Ukraine defending United Europe values, but especially former Soviet area, include my native country, Azerbaijan. Because your victory, it is Azerbaijan victory. We have Russian troops in my native country, like peacemaker. And your victory help us kick out these Russian soldiers from Azerbaijan. Your victory, it is victory for Georgia. The same problem in Abkhazia occupied and South Ossetia. And Georgia can kick out Russian soldiers from there. Your victory, it is victory for Moldova. The same problem in Prednistrovia. Russian soldiers can be kicked out from there also. You have to know, history repeating itself. In December 14, 1939, Soviet Union kicked out from League of Nations for aggression against Finland. Today, Russia needs to kick out from United Nations Security Council and take away veto right. And Russia will use always this veto right against international law. Putin needs to be a real punishment. Because today I'm here, staying here and saying, Slava Ukraine! Slava Ukraine! Slava Ukraine! And let me say something in Russian language for Russian population, for Russian citizen who against Putin regime and who sitting at home. Граждане России, послушайте внимательно весь мир. Сегодня на моей родине, меня зовут Рамис Юнус, я гражданин Азербайджана и гражданин США. Сегодня в городе Баку многотысячный митинг в поддержку Украины перед посольством Украины. Посмотрите на интернет. Посмотрите сегодня на весь мир, на Грузию, на Тбилиси. Посмотрите на все города в мире. Миллионы людей сегодня стоят рядом с Украиной. Задайтесь вопросом, почему? Почему 80 лет назад в 4 утра Гитлер, фашист, бомбил Киев, мать городов русских? Гитлер из страны Баха и Бетховена. А сегодня в 4 утра точно так же бомбит мать городов русских уже другой Гитлер современный, Путин. Куда вы смотрите? Вы же говорите, что вы как будто потомки Пушкина и Чайковского. Отмолчаться не сможете. У нас в Азербайджане говорят, идущий в ад хочет с собой попутчика. Если вы не хотите быть, проходить через ту трагедию, через которую прошла Германия и ее народ вместе с Гитлером, не повторяйте такой же ошибки и не идите в ад вместе с Путиным. Поднимайте свой голос протеста. Как сказал Владимир Стендер, порядочность не предопределяет героичности. Порядочность – это не участие в подлости. Не участвуйте в подлости. Поднимайте свой голос протеста. Больше, хуже быть не может. Потому что этот негодяй уже пугает весь мир ядерным оружием. Слава Украине! Слава Украине! Слава Украине! Дякую.
President Biden, you promised us, to the entire international community, that Russia, if they invade Ukraine again, would face unheard of economic and other consequences. President Biden, the invasion has been ongoing for more than 4 days after an 8-year-long war. Our cities are under attack by missiles, Grad rockets, modern tanks, and aircraft. Kindergartens and civilian apartments are being hit every single hour. This invasion is happening now. President Biden, the European Union has closed its airspace to Aeroflot and every Russian airline. Canada has closed its airspace to Russian airliners. President Biden, where is the leader of the free world? Why does Aeroflot still hang on Dulles Airport? Mr. President, cutting 5 Russian banks out of 200 from SWIFT is simply not enough. Exempting Russian gas and oil transactions on SWIFT is not enough. President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you. Friends, in the 20th century, a terrible formula was created about the number of Rwandan casualties that it would take to be worth 1 American casualty. I will not repeat this terrible number. But in the 21st century, we must not, we cannot let a new term be coined. A term that asks, how many dead Ukrainians will it take for every cent per gallon at the gas pump? President Biden, the world is watching you.
President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you.
Friends, I have a chilling horror when I ask myself, how many atrocities will the Russians need to do in Ukraine for the Western world, led by the United States, to wake up and to take meaningful action? Mr. Biden, President Biden, leaders lead. To all of you, I would like to address you next. You have a job to do. You have a job to do today. Your job is to educate and mobilize your friends and neighbors to press President Biden and Congress to keep their word, to institute crippling economic sanctions on Russia, and to do so now, today. No more symbolic gestures. Stand with Ukraine. Make the cost for Russia to continue this war untenable. To all of you, when you leave here, take your Ukrainian flags with you. Hang them proud outside of your homes and your apartments. Wear a Ukrainian shirt, a cap. If need be, put Ukrainian paint on your cheeks. And when people ask you, what does it mean to be Ukrainian? Here's what you tell them. You tell them about our history spanning thousands of years. You tell them about the Constitution of Philippe Orelic in 1710 that predated the French and the American Constitution and called for democracy in Ukraine. You tell them about the Budapest Memorandum, where the 3rd most powerful nuclear country in the world peacefully disarmed, but it didn't just do so on its own accord. It did so in exchange for promises from the leader of this country, from France, and even from Russia. But we did this for promises of safeguarding our territorial integrity. President Biden, the world is watching you. Friends, next, I need you to tell these people a few other things. Tell them about the unarmed civilians in the Ukrainian town of Bakhmut, who got on their knees in front of Russian tanks to stop them, who threw their bicycles at Russian tanks because that is all they had at their disposal. Tell them about the brave soldiers on Zmyny Island who faced down the entire Russian fleet and fought to the death despite being outnumbered and outgunned. Tell them what these brave Ukrainian soldiers said when they were asked to surrender and when they were asked to go and spend some time in a nice warm Russian jail cell. You tell them. Ruski kорабль. You tell them about how, despite the projections of every skilled military tactician, about how Kyiv and all of Ukraine would fall to the mighty Russian army within 2 days. And you tell them that the Ukrainian flag proudly still flies in every major Ukrainian city. Not one major city has been captured after 4 days. And next, you tell them what are the colors projected today, tonight, on the Roman Colosseum, on the Eiffel Tower, on every landmark in New York City, on the Masonic Temple down the street, and in almost every city around the world. Because people are awed by Ukraine's bravery and will to fight. And then you tell them the story of your family and friends who are willing to fight with pots and pans, with couches, whatever it takes. I would like to next address our brave Ukrainian soldiers, students, lawyers, engineers, and grandmothers who are mobilizing to stand up to the Russian occupiers. Please know, you are not standing alone. We and the entire world stand with you. We 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 stand with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine. We will do our part to press our government and leadership to do more to support you. And we will do so now. You are an inspiration to us all. And President Biden, the world is watching you.
President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you. President Biden, the world is watching you.
That's a crowd that you did not think I would address today. I want to address the Russian soldiers in Ukraine right now, who are exhausted, hungry, and dismayed by our fighting resolve. Wipe off the Z, the V, the O, and other signs off of your military vehicles. Rip off your Russian army patches. Surrender, you will not be harmed. We will feed you. We will provide you shelter. Shelter that your own troop or your own leadership is not providing you. Stand with us against the evil and authoritarian regime of Vladimir Putin. Stand with your brave brothers and sisters in St. Petersburg and other cities who have come out and protest against Vladimir Putin and against the evil war machine of Russia. Finally, to all of these audiences, I want to make sure every single one of you know the definition to one word today. That word is mriya. Mriya means dream in Ukrainian. Mriya is also the name of the largest civilian cargo plane in the world, an Antonov 225. This morning, it was parked at an airfield, and the Russian military destroyed it. While this is terrible news, I want you to know something. Yes, Russia can destroy the airplane named Mriya. And Russia may be able to shell some of our kindergartens. And they might be able to shell some of our apartment buildings. But they will never bring us to our knees. And they cannot destroy the Mriya of our people to be free, to be sovereign, and to be independent. Friends, I would like to next bring a speaker to you to lead us in prayer. To lead us in prayer and to lead us in a moment of silence as we play the song Plenikacha. After the speaker, for those of you who are able, I would like to ask that you do the moment of silence on your knees. On your knees to honor the brave soldiers and civilians who are fighting right this minute for our independence and freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a critical time. Father, I would like to bring you up. Father Volodymyr Stelyak. Then we will have a moment of silence. And he is of St. Andrew Orthodox Cathedral. Father.
Слава Ісусу Христу!
Слава навіки!
Дорогенькі мої, тяжкі часи. These are difficult times, my beloved brothers and sisters in the good Lord. This is it. It is time to ask the good Lord to protect our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. Everyone that goes out there, they go with the hope that God will protect them. Let us have a prayer. I will not offer a prayer as we always do, because this time I need you. Every single one of you will raise your voice as high as possible. Let the heaven hear our prayer. We will pray Our Father like we never prayed before. We need your prayers. The leaders, spiritual leaders, are with you. Our brothers and sisters in Ukraine need our prayers as well. Отче наш, що єси на небесах, нехай святиться ім'я Твоє, нехай прийде царство Твоє, нехай буде як на небі, так і на землі. Хліб наш насущний дай нам сьогодні, і прости нам провини наші, як і ми прощаємо винуватцям нашим. І не веди нас у спокусу, але визволи нас від лукавого. And now, let's do it in English. Loud voice. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord and Master of our life, we ask you to bless and protect our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. Protect the world, protect those that choose and defend freedom. For yours is the name that is holy, now and forever. Amen. Thank you, and may God bless you. Please pray like you never prayed before, because Ukraine needs you. God bless you all.
God bless Ukraine!
Please join us in a moment of silence. If you can, please do so on your knees.
Hey!
The world is watching you!
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. We're just gonna, my mom and my mom came all the way from Colorado, and she's been a big initiator and organizer of these events as well, all the way from Colorado and helping me. We're just gonna sing a Ukrainian song for you right now, just a little musical break, and then we'll get back to our singers, our speakers. If you know this song, please sing with us. This is a very important song. Here's my mom.
This is a hymn that was sung by the Ukrainian army fighting in the First War, Чечові стрільці. It's called "O Україно, о любаненько." If you know, please sing with us.
О Україно, о любаненько, тобі вірненько присягнем, серце, кров і любов, все тобі віддати в боротьбі за Україну, за її волю, за честь і славу, за народ. Журем і пута ми вже пірвали і зруйнували царський трон. З-під ярем і тюрем все бухніть, ідем на вольний світ за Україну, за її волю, за честь, за славу, за народ, за Україну, з вогнем зав'яття, рушаймо, браття, всі вперед, слушний час кличе нас, нуж бо враз, понять святий наказ за Україну, за її волю, за честь, за славу, за народ. Вперед ще, браття, прапор наш має, і сонце сяє нам Отця. Дружній тиск, спої блиск, карих гнів, і з ним подив і спів за Україну, за її волю, за честь, за славу, за народ. О Україно, о любаненько, тобі вірненько присягнем, серця, кров і любов, все тобі віддати в боротьбі за Україну, за її волю, за честь, за славу, за народ. Thank you. Дякуємо. Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Україна! 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 Thank you so much. Now I will continue inviting our distinguished guest speakers. Next in line, I would like to introduce Mr. Damon M. Wilson. He's the president and CEO of the National Endowment for Democracy here in Washington, D.C. Mr. Wilson.
Slava Ukraini. I'm with the National Endowment for Democracy, which is America's foundation for freedom. And today, the fight for freedom is in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin's attack on Ukraine is an assault on freedom and democracy, and it's a challenge to free nations around the world. This invasion comes on the heels of unchecked aggression from Vladimir Putin. In 2007, a cyber attack on Estonia. In 2008, an invasion of Georgia. In 2014, in Crimea and Donbass. We have seen Russia fueling authoritarian resurgence around the world, from Africa to Latin America. And we have seen a full-scale assault on the Russian people. This past year alone, more Russians were driven into exile as he cracked down at home. And today, Ukraine is the epicenter of the fight for freedom in this world. Ukrainians' courage Their determination has been an inspiration to rally all of us around their cause. Their cause is our cause. And Ukrainians they will have inspired those that believe in freedom for generations to come, securing Ukraine's place in history. But we are not focused on history today. We are focused on what is happening today. And the fight of Ukrainians, their success is crucial to democracy's future. It is crucial to defeating Putinism. So it is time that we rally, that the free world rallies on behalf of Ukraine and their heroic struggle to put together the largest solidarity package that the world has seen since the Marshall Plan to back their struggle, and that we rally to stop Putin's aggression with the resolve, the generational movement that will require to defeat his tyranny. Because only when Putin is out of Ukraine, only when Putin is out of the Kremlin, will our freedom be safe and secure. Slava Ukraine!
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson. Please give him a round of applause. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Leo Ivashko. He's the founder of the Ivashko Law Firm, and he used to have a dancing group called Fantasia here in Washington, D.C.
How many Ukrainian Americans do we have here? Round of applause. So how many of you have never asked, what's your nationality? And you say, I'm Ukrainian American. They say, what's that? Is that from Africa? How many of you would ask, what's some of your food? You say, borscht. Oh, that's Russian soup, right? Or the Cossacks. Oh, those are just Russian marauders. Or when you do a prishetka, that's just Russian dancing. What Putin has done, he's inadvertently shown the world that we are different, that we are not Russians. We are a sovereign country. We are our own people. Last week, Geraldo Rivera said, oh, Ukraine is proving that they're not a fake country. Why would you even say such a thing? We've been around for millennium. Skinny Pete in the Italian Job said, I only fear three things: Mother Nature, mother-in-laws, and mother freaking Ukrainians. Kramer on Seinfeld said, oh, look, the Ukraine is weak. It's time to put the herd in Ukraine. And a Ukrainian bystander said, what do you mean Ukraine weak? I smash your board, because that is the Ukrainian spirit. I say it in jest, but it is the truth. But what we need now, no matter how strong we are, no matter how much we are not Russia, we need America's support. We need Biden to keep the promise made in 1994 with the Budapest Memorandum. We need troops sent to Ukraine. That is the support that we need. We cannot do this on our own, because it's not a Ukrainian problem. It is a worldwide problem. And the only thing I'll say, in addition to this, is just keep calling your representatives. The more we push them, the more they maybe will see. Biden, we're watching you. The world is watching you. Keep your promise, because you know what's going to happen if they don't? Who will ever trust America again to keep a treaty, to keep a promise? If they don't keep this promise, why would they keep any other promise? I love this country. I love Ukraine. Let's combine, let's join, let's fight, and let's destroy the enemy, because that's what they are. And then let's have peace for the rest of our lives and humanity. Slava Ukraini!
Friends, before more speakers, we're going to do some chants. It is time to tell President Biden and the United States government what we are demanding.
President Biden, keep your promises.
President Biden, keep your promises.
President Biden, keep your promises. Russian banks from SWIFT.
Cut all 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 Russian banks from SWIFT.
Protect Ukrainian sky.
Protect Ukrainian sky.
Protect the 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 Ukrainian sky.
President Biden, the world is watching you.
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 President Biden, leaders lead.
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 President Biden, stand with Ukraine.
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 Keep your promises.
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 Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT.
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 President Biden, the world is watching you.
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 President Biden, keep your promises.
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 Defend Ukraine.
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 Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Україна!
the time when was the trouble from Russian army and Putin were saying, we will go inside Tbilisi. Yushchenko, we are standing with that, and I'm thankful that you are our friends, and you are our sisters and brothers. Now, I want to address one topic. My question is, where is America standing for? What the America's greatness is? Just promise? Just speaking? I remember in 2008 when Bush promised Georgia to help. I remember in 2014 when Obama promised Ukraine to help. I don't believe, and I don't want to believe, that Biden will do the same thing and betray Ukraine. And I will tell you one. If Putin is imperialist lunatic, and if Putin started the war in Ukraine, it's a world, American, and NATO fault. He didn't make an action since 2008. He didn't make an action since 2014. And finally, you wake up, finally. And Biden, the world is watching you. You are betraying Ukraine. Now you went to Delaware. Just remember the Budapest, when you disarmed the Ukraine. The Ukraine is not for Ukraine problem only. It's the Americans and world problem. And finally, I want to tell you, Ukraine, never give up. Fight. Georgia are with you. Poland are with you. And we, together, we will fight against Putin. And I believe that one day we will wake up and we will win this war. And we're going to live as a victory for our freedom, for our country's freedom, and we will take back our territories. We will take Crimea, Donetsk, Lugansk, Abkhazia, and Ossetia. We the people love Ukraine. Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Дякую вас! Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you, Georgians, for being here. We have a gentleman here who is a staffer from Congressman Brendan Boyle. His name is Mr. Gianluca Nigro. He's going to read a statement on behalf of Congressman Brendan Boyle. Please let's welcome him to stage. Thank you. And he's the Congressman of Pennsylvania. Which district? From Philadelphia. Please let's welcome Mr. Gianluca Nigro.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for hosting this today. The Congressman wishes he could be here, and he'll certainly be at future events here at the White House in Philadelphia and throughout the nation. We have a brief statement here from the Congressman. He just returned back from Brussels with the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, and he wanted this read here today. So thank you for the opportunity. As we gather today to rally behind the Ukraine and the Ukrainian community in Philadelphia, in Washington, D.C., and across our region, I want you to know my commitment is to Ukraine and to ensuring that the United States upholds its commitment to stand with Ukraine as it is faced with unprovoked aggression from an autocrat like Vladimir Putin and his Russian regime. As a nation, the United States must do all it can to support and help defend the integrity and sovereignty of democratic nations such as Ukraine. The events of the past week have been devastating. Vladimir Putin chose to launch a war that has already brought tremendous suffering and loss of life. He alone is to blame for the violence we are witnessing. But the Ukrainian people are resilient, and the United States and allies will do everything in our power to hold Putin accountable. Putin and his enablers will pay an incredibly severe price for their actions. The retaliatory efforts we have taken and the crippling sanctions we are imposing are not only unprecedented in scope, but will also present the Kremlin with detrimental economic costs. The United States and our transatlantic allies are sending an explicit and forceful message to the rest of the world that any breach of territorial integrity is unacceptable and will be met with unmatched resolve. We have seen Russian attempts to undermine American elections and democratic norms, and we've seen and are seeing unprecedented and outrageous Russian aggression and attacks meant to destabilize Ukraine and democratically elected government. We cannot allow such efforts to continue or to succeed. During a time when we see the forces of authoritarianism advancing in many parts of the world, we must resolve to fight back against such forces, as well as their attempts to undermine our way of life. That is why I'm proud to say to you that I stand with the people of Ukraine, and I'm committed as a member of Congress to doing all within my power to support Ukraine and its people as it navigates the current provocations by Russia and its autocratic leadership. I believe that together, Ukraine and the United States and our Ukrainian American community can and will work together to beat back this current crisis and to ensure that our shared democratic values continue to be upheld and defended. Thank you for your presence, and I look forward to working with you all moving forward.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, Mr. Gianluca. Next, it's my distinct honor to introduce Ms. Oksana Yaramchuk. She traveled here all the way from New York City. And she is the president of the Ukrainian Jersey City and the vice president of the UNWLA branch 143. And she's also part of Razum for Ukraine, which is also one of our co-organizers who's helped us with last Sunday's events, and they continue helping us with these events as well. Let us please welcome Ms. Yaramchuk.
Oh boy, guys. Hi everybody. Привіт, Україна! Привіт, українці! Тиждень тому, 1 week ago, I have not imagined standing here in front of such a huge crowd. I did not imagine this. On Thursday, I checked my phone one last time before going to bed, and I found out that the bombs are flying in Ukraine. I found out that the sirens are sounding and then the war has started. I have a family in Ukraine. My family is standing strong with Ukraine. I am standing here strong with Ukraine. We need to show our courage. We will not give up. Encourage all of your people not to give up, to stand strong. If United States currently not providing us help with army, we need to ask for different help. In New Jersey and New York, we're gathering medical supplies that are getting shipped right now to Ukraine. We're finding ways. We're sending drones, guys. Today, we sent 2 drones. Tomorrow, going another 2. We need 30 drones. We're standing with our soldiers. My uncle's ready. He's going to, or we're not going to give our country away. We're going to stand strong. And oh boy, Georgian people, people who stand with us today, please be strong with us. You know how it feels to be bullied. We don't want to allow this. Please stand with Ukraine. 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 We will not give up, guys. Please tell your neighbors, print a little flag from Google, put it on your window. Support. Our people need support. Our people need that the world is standing behind them. This is giving them power right now. Please support. Follow organizations. Think about one thing each of you can do today to help Ukraine, to help boys who are protecting our country, our homeland. We want our land. We want our language. We want our traditions. We want to be democratic, diplomatic country. We will not give up. 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 Stand strong, guys. We're here. Yes.
Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава Україні! President Biden, the world is watching you! 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 Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT! Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT! Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT!
President Biden, stand with Ukraine!
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 Protect Ukrainian sky!
Protect Ukrainian sky!
Protect the Ukrainian sky!
Protect the Ukrainian sky!
Protect the Ukrainian skies!
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 President Biden, keep your promises!
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 Friends, I want to emphasize the words of our previous speaker. This event is us talking to each other, and we don't need to know this message. We already are, as far as it goes, supporting Ukraine. What you need to do is open your phone and look at all of the people, all of your friends, all of your co-workers, your dentist, your chiropractor, everyone who's reached out to you in support of Ukraine, and ask, what more can I do? Yes, we appreciate prayer, and we appreciate your thoughts, but what you can do is get on your computer or get on your phone and call the White House. Write the White House and Congress. We do not need more words. We need more actions, and we need them now. And one other thing. This event does not end today. We have been at the White House each of the last 3 days, from noon to 8 p.m. or later, or until some of us lose our voice. Tomorrow, we will be here at noon. On Tuesday, we will be here at noon. If you've traveled from afar, pick your location and go there at noon and stand with Ukraine.
Stand with Ukraine!
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 Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
some great speakers for you. Next we have another speaker who was here. He's also a co-organizer of some of our events, and especially the event last Sunday. He was also one of our distinguished speakers last Sunday at the Lincoln Memorial. It's Mr. Michael Salkiw Jr. He is the director of the Ukrainian National Information Service, the Washington Bureau. He's also the executive vice president of the Ukrainian Community of America.
Ева, повернись. Ева.
Ева, хорошо стояла.
Да? Да, Ева, можешь туда посмотреть?
Слава Україні! Dear Ukrainian community activists, dear Americans, we all stand here in Lafayette Park in front of the White House to seek action from the White House. The United States and Ukraine, since 2008, have been strategic partners. As strategic partners, the United States must come to the assistance and aid of Ukraine. The quote, the most infamous quote of the past week is as such: "The fight is here. I need ammunition, not a ride." Our fight is with the Ukrainians. Our fight is making sure that the White House and Congress understand what it means to be a strategic partner of Ukraine. USA, arm Ukraine! 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 We want the United States to designate Russia as a state sponsor of terror. We want to define Putin as a war criminal. We want our social media platforms of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram to delete Russian accounts and fake news. Forget about it. Russian oligarchs. All the Russian oligarchs' assets must be frozen. Revoke Russian visas of students and cultural ensembles to the United States. Let them understand this is a country of privilege. If their government is waging a war against Ukraine, it is upon them to change their government and to make sure that this war stops, not to have those students here in the United States. Sanction officials in the Russian Federation who also are abusing the human and religious rights of Ukrainians in the Russian Federation. There are 10 million Ukrainians in the Russian Federation, and their voice needs to be heard as well. And what we've heard today, time and time again, about a no-fly zone over Ukraine. While we welcome a no-fly zone over Ukraine, we should welcome Ukraine in NATO now! 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 Let us be mindful that we are in front of the White House. Our objective as Ukrainian Americans, as all freedom-loving people, as American citizens, is to contact our elected officials, whether it is the President of the United States across the park, or whether it is Congress 16 blocks away down Pennsylvania Avenue. We need to make sure that our voice is heard, not tomorrow, but today. Your task is to invite all of your friends, all of your family, Ukrainian American and American alike. Contact the White House. Illuminate the White House in blue and yellow colors. The world shows its solidarity with Ukraine in illuminating beautiful buildings, national buildings, historical buildings worldwide. The same must be done of this symbolic gesture for Ukraine. Contact your members of Congress, contact the White House, tell them to support Ukraine immediately. Support Ukraine! Support Ukraine! Support Ukraine! Support Ukraine! Ladies and gentlemen, we are not in this fight alone. We have heard from the Joint Baltic American National Committee. We have heard from our friends from the Georgian community. We are fortunate that there exists a Central and East European community of communities of the Polish descent, of the Baltics, of the Georgians, and of others, which enumerate over 25 million citizens of Central and East European descent. We are proud to be a part of that coalition. They stand with us, and they are here with us this afternoon. If I could please introduce the Executive Director from the Estonian American National Committee, Karin Shui. Karin, please. Support Ukraine! Support Ukraine! Support Ukraine!
Support Ukraine!
Okay, that's excuse me. So good afternoon. As Michael said, I am Karin Shui with the Estonian American National Council, representing Estonian Americans throughout the U.S. And I think it's fair to say that Estonians around the world mark their anniversary of independence on Thursday in somber solidarity with Ukrainians at the violence that Putin brought across Ukraine's borders on that day. And EANC issued a statement of support on February 24th. On the 104th anniversary of Estonia's independence, the Estonian American National Council condemns in the strongest terms possible the invasion of Ukraine by President Putin's forces on false pretenses and in blatant violation of international law. We stand in solidarity with Ukrainians in their fight to maintain their sovereignty and pursue democratic values and institutions. We call on Estonian Americans to join in showing support for United States actions aimed to ensure the security of Ukraine, Estonia, and the rest of Europe. EANC urges its constituents to contact their members of Congress and the White House to express distress and anger about the invasion of Ukraine and concern about the possibility of future Russian actions threatening the Baltic countries and other NATO members. EANC is a parent organization of the Joint Baltic American National Committee and a member of the Central and East European Coalition that Michael just introduced. It's a coalition of nonprofits representing diaspora communities with roots in 13 nations from the region. EANC is working closely with them at following Michael's lead to determine the best courses of action for our organizations to take as the situation evolves, and we echo the statements already issued by our colleagues. Together, we will urge Congress to pass maximum emergency supplemental funding as requested by the White House on Friday for military and humanitarian aid to stop Russia now. We will continue to press for the immediate imposition of the full force of sanctions against Putin and his regime. We will ask our community members throughout the country to amplify this message, and we will remain engaged. We will not stop until Ukraine's sovereignty is fully restored. In these dark times, we will continue to carry the promise that freedom and the will of the people will prevail in Ukraine as they did in Ukraine and Estonia in 1918. Slava Ukraina!
Ukraina! Ukraina! Ukraina! Friends, if you open the Wall Street Journal on your phone, what you'll see is a news article that the European Union right now is in talks to provide Ukraine with fighter jets.
That is one of the biggest pieces of news. So again, President Biden, we are watching you. 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 President Biden, leaders lead. 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 Protect Ukrainian skies.
Protect the 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 Ukrainian skies.
Cut all Russian banks from SWIFT.
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 President Biden, take action now.
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 The world is watching you.
The world is watching you.
We are watching you.
We are watching you.
The world is watching you.
The world is watching you.
We are watching you.
We are watching you.
The world is watching you.
The world is watching you.
We are watching you.
We are watching you.
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
USA, arm Ukraine! USA, arm Ukraine!
USA, arm Ukraine! USA, arm Ukraine! USA, arm Ukraine! USA, arm Ukraine!
My friends, we have other colleagues here from other Central and East European communities. You've just heard from my Estonian colleague. Next you'll hear from my Armenian colleague. Armenia also knows devastation, destruction. Their genocide of 1915, our genocide of 1932-33, and the Holodomor, with the Holodomor Memorial no more than 16 blocks away, several blocks from the United States Capitol. The word genocide is being used today in inappropriate ways by a very inappropriate dictator. Genocide must be stopped. What we see in Ukraine today is considered to be a genocide as well. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to introduce my colleague from the Armenian Assembly of America, Brian Arduni. Brian.
Michael, thank you very much, and thank you to all the organizers here today, and for all of you for being out here today. I think everyone deserves a round of applause. All right. Michael is correct. Throughout the years, we have worked together on key issues, whether it's U.S. affirmation of the Armenian genocide and the Holodomor, to supporting aid for the Ukrainian people and the Armenian people, and so much more. We also recall that it was the Ukrainian Anatoly Zinovich who fought alongside the Armenian people when Artsakh was defending itself against foreign aggression in the 1990s. He, like so many Ukrainians today, are heroes in defense of freedom and democracy. As a diaspora community, we know the importance and power of our collective voices. Together we stand in solidarity in calling for this war to end and for democracy to be respected. God bless the Ukrainian people. Thank you.
Thank you to our Armenian colleagues. All genocide must be stopped in the world. All genocides must be recognized in the world. The Holodomor needs to be recognized also as a genocide by the White House, by the United States Congress, by the State Department. It's an honor and a pleasure to introduce my next colleague from the Hungarian American community, Max Keleki, as the Executive Director of the Hungarian American Coalition.
Greetings from the Hungarian American community. Slava Ukraini! I learned those words in 2014 across the street there when my friend Michael to my right taught them to me. I've never forgotten them. In my 5 trips to Ukraine since 1995, I have come to admire Ukraine